A very pleasant day to you, and I welcome you once again to this segment on newspaper review in First Next News. And this is the very time where I'll be putting you through all our newspaper platform headlines and interesting story on all newspaper platforms all over the country, Nigeria. My name is Kings Ojalo. Now we'll be starting with the leadership newspaper. On the leadership newspaper, we have interesting and highlighted stories such as el-rufai arraigned court March 31st for bail hearing. El-rufai arraigned court fixed March 31st for bail hearing. You find that in page 7. Yes, recall yesterday where he was arraigned as well in the Kaduna High Court, and now it has been adjourned to on the 31st of March 2026. Now let's go straight to Obi's case. Obi should not have contested 2023 presidential election. That is coming from Justice Salami. You find that in page 10 of the leadership newspaper. Now the highlighted stories such as reaction as INEC meets parties overdraft guidelines. Reaction as INEC meets parties overdraft guidelines. You find that in page 4 of that newspaper platform. Still on that, we have FG target lifting 50 million Nigerians out of poverty with 10 trillion naira plan. Interesting one there. You find that in page 9. Now moving ahead, still on the leadership, on the right side, Shetima received Dauda Lawa into APC, says PDP buried ADC in coma. You find that in page 17 of the leadership newspaper. Now in page 18, we risk losing Borno Northeast to terrorists. That is coming from Undume. Now in page 23, shape personnel interest mark urge ADC leaders. Now going straight to our next newspaper platform, which is the Blueprint newspaper. On the Blueprint, we have stories, more and interesting stories. Now looking at the bold picture there where el-rufai was arraigned in the High Court in Kaduna. Now on the highlighted story, 2027, INEC unveils reveal guidelines for political parties. 2027, INEC unveils reversed guidelines for political parties. APC panel clears Yawada Basiru, 28 others for international convention. ADC clashes state LG World nomination fees for aspirants. You find that in page 7. Now ICPC arraigned el-rufai. Court fixed March 31st for bail hearing. Ex-Governor Son Bello leads protests. EFCC moved to take over Malami's Abuja residence. Interesting one there for our political high stakeholders now. Now let's go straight to the Daily Trust. On the Daily Trust, we have highlighted stories. Party moves against electoral acts. Parties move against electoral acts. Now on the top, we have Obi had no basis contesting 2023 presidential election. That is coming from Justice Salami. We also have what FG can do to bring down petrol costs. What federal government can do to bring down petrol costs. Now on the top, we also have 11 die in Ogun or your Bauchi road crash. 11 die in Ogun or your Bauchi road crashes. You find that in page 24 of the Daily Trust. On the bottom line, we have court reminds el-rufai in ICPC custody fixed March 30th for bail hearing. Now on the left side, we have 2027 Labour Party zones presidential ticket to South. Interesting one. You find that in page 10. What to know about the new HIV prevention injection. You find that in page 8 of the Daily Trust newspaper. US to send thousands of soldiers to Middle East. Still war occurring in South Asia, not stopping. Now let's go straight to our next newspaper platform, which is the Daily Sun newspaper. The highlighted stories: APC Convention Committee clears Yawada Ajebola Duru. You find that in page 6 and 26 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Now going to the top, 2027 Labour Party won't field Northern presidential candidate. Denedi says 2027 Labour Party won't field Northern presidential candidate. Coming from Denedi, the chairlady of the party. Throw doors open for interesting aspirant. You find that in page 6 of the Daily Sun newspaper. Now we also have World Bank Why poverty reduction effort not working in Nigeria? FG plans to lift 50 million out of penury. Now at the bottom we have Nigeria was worse off than in 2023. Baba Ahmed tells Tinubu. Find that in page 6. Insecurity, Southwest stakeholders meet in Abeokuta. You find that in page 26 of the Daily Sun. We also have federal government target March 30th reopening of Enugu-Onitsha Expressway. You find that in page 25. Sad news here, 4 died in Ijebu-Ode Ore Expressway crash. You find that in page 4 of the Daily Sun. Now going straight to the Punch newspaper. On the Punch, highlighted stories. 2027 polls, PDP government rejects Wike blocks concessions chair. You find that in page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Still on the Punch, we have on the top Dangote NNPC deal hits turbulence over crude shortfall. You find that in page 21 of the Punch newspaper. Still on the Punch, we have parties once INEC rules could skew 2027 polls. You find that in page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Nigeria out of school crisis demands $345 million yearly. Alausa says. You find that in page 16 of the Punch newspaper. Going straight to the Matrix newspaper. On the Matrix, INEC new election guidelines spark tension among political parties. 2027 INEC new election guidelines spark tension among political parties. Now on the top we have proposed sugar tax sparks fees backlash as CPPE warns of an economic sabotage. I take that again. Proposed sugar tax sparks fears backlash as CPPE warns of economic sabotage. Now still on that newspaper, massive shake-up rocks police force as IGP orders posting of senior officers. You find that in page 9 of that newspaper platform. We also have on the top, CBN bans Western Union, MoneyGram, other INTOs from FX payout from May 1st. Now we also have on the spot, fans sue FIFA over high World Cup ticket price. You find that in page 25. I guess also the war between Iran and Israel is still affecting transport system, which is affecting the World Cup movement, which the FIFA has increased price for transport. Now going to Kaduna. Kaduna's court adjourned el-rufai bill hearing to March 31st. You find that in page 2 of that newspaper platform. Going straight to the Nigeria Tribune. On the Nigeria Tribune, we have parties want direct primaries restored. Parties want direct primaries restored. You find that in page 2. Insist on amendment of Electoral Acts as INEC update guidelines, review party registration, mega the registration campaign expenses. Now on the top we have 2027 or your PDP candidate to a March April 8th marking day. Find that in page 5 of the Nigeria Tribune. Obi ought not to contest in 2023 presidential election. That is coming from Justice Salami. Find that in page 4 of the Nigeria Tribune newspaper. Now going straight to the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian, we also have interesting stories on the Guardian. Ministers gauge support popularity ahead of registration deadline. I'll take that again. Ministers gauge support popularity ahead of registration deadlines. You find that in page 6 of that newspaper platform. FG anticipates improved trade as phased implementation of NSW takes off. I'll take that again. FG anticipates improved trade as phased implementation of NSW take off. You find that in page 8 of the Guardian newspaper. Still on the Guardian, PDP will field candidates in 2027 adopt concessions policy, says Makinde. You find that in page 3 of that newspaper platform. Now on the right side of this newspaper, we have interesting stories such as FG push skills to job agenda, target millions for employment. That is a good news, which you find in page 4 of that newspaper platform. Labour Party postponed Congress's Zone 2027 presidential ticket to South. You find that in page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Still on the Guardian, UNODC links illicit proceeds of crime to violent extremism in Nigeria. Take that again. UNODC links illicit proceeds of crime to violent extremists in Nigeria. You find that in page 5. Consultant to Nigerian National Fabric project to earn $6.1 million. You find that in page 15 of the Guardian newspaper. Now going straight to the Daily Monitor. The Daily Monitor highlighted stories such as Adelabu apologizes, promise improvement in 2 weeks. Adelabu apologizes, promise improvement in 2 weeks. Now on the bottom we have 2027 INEC unveils draft guidelines for political parties. On the top we have Malami condemns EFCC invasion of his property, says action of anti-graft agency a disregard to the rule of law. Our decision followed valid interim for eventual order issued by courts EFCC. Now the top give you some brief stories there. FG reaffirms education reform drive, seek private sector backing. Find that in page 4. We also have contractors plan protest as APC convention over delayed payments. You find that in page 4 of that newspaper. Now going straight to the Nigeria News Direct. On the News Direct, Nigeria's FX inflows surge to $4.4 billion. Nigeria's FX inflows surge to $4.4 billion. Find that in page 4 of that newspaper platform. Now, we also have brief stories. Adelebu apologizes for power outage, guarantees improved electricity supply within 2 weeks. You could recall he is about to leave that position and going to Oyo State contesting for the role of a state governor. Now he is coming out to ensure Nigeria, despite his long stay in the being the Minister of Electricity and Power, now he's assuring Nigeria for 2 weeks guarantee of full power supply. What an unfortunate move. Now let's go straight to the Platform Times. Looking at the Platform Times, we have Binance seeks out court deal with FG over tax evasion case. Trial suspended as negotiations begins. Court demands update May 12. Now on the top we have Kebbi Hospital horror. 2 sisters die, nurse stormed over ejection. A very sad one there in Kebbi State. And PSC reprimands AIG, demotes officer, sack 3. We also have indigenous contractors threatens to disrupt APC convention over 150 billion naira debt. That is so unfortunate. We also have Bobrisky web road on self-law on arrival in prison. Baba Ajeshua. Take that again. Bobrisky waived road on self-law on arrival in prison. That is coming from Baba Ajesha. Now we also have el-rufai arraigned over 579.7 million severances fraud, and also $317,900 money laundering charges. Criminal exploit digital platforms to fund terrorism. Radicalians. Take that again. Criminal exploit digital platform to end terrorism. Radicalians. Citizens says by ICPC. Now going straight to the first daily. Nationwide darkness. I take that again. Nationwide darkness. Power Minister apologize, pleads for patience. Power Minister apologize, plead for patience. Borno nears terrorists take over. Odume raises alarm. Borno nears terrorists take over. Odume raises alarm. We also have Peter Obi condemns Shege Umar arrest after Kaduna visit. Labour Party zones 2027 ticket South bears North. Nigeria is deep in trouble now under Tinubu then 2023. Hakeem Baba Ahmed says ASWAP cleric threatens retaliation after 75 terrorists killed. A very interesting one there. Peter Obi not eligible to contest 2023 election, Justice Salami says. Dixon ruled out presidential bill. He declares PDP dead. And that is all I have for you on this segment on newspaper review in First News. Till I come your way next time for more and more interesting and updated stories, I remain your humble host, Kings Ojalo. It's a bye for now.